Is Rumble, that VR Earthbending game, a movement shooter? Now, at first glance, that might seem like a stupid question, and it is, but hear me out. I do have a little experience with movement shooters. As someone with a single world record and a single map on the VR version of Neon White.
Come on! Yes!
And that's the most literal movement shooter. You collect cards and use them to either shoot or burn them to move. Now, Rumble has movement, and I guess it has shooting. If you imagine bullets but scale them up by 100 times and slow them down by 1,000, because they're still projectiles. And to quote the preeminent expert on movement shooters,
the cardinal rule of movement shooters is that projectile weapons are always more fun than hit scan.
Building my case, right? But I guess Rumble kind of has melee options too.
Oh god. You just cleared out every boulder possible.
But Ghost Runner has a sword, and Funke said,
"In my video, me go fast, me say word."
And across half a decade of research, he boiled down the definition to
a movement FPS. There's a video game with movement and
first person. All caught up? Cool.
Now these clips are from Pompey, one of the top movement specialists in our game. I sparred with him to ask him the one question.
Do you reckon Rumble's a movement shooter?
But to question the question, why even ask it? My mission is to make Rumble mainstream. If I can prove this movement aspect to you, we can gain an additional tag on Steam, and maybe, just maybe, it'll attract more people. Of course, there is the base movement. Walk, run, jump, dash. Boring. Then there is aerial-based mobility. Exciting. That's things like the aerial sling.
It's not going well. I'm sorry, you just got headshot.
Mounted flight in its many forms.
Now you're too high. Oh wait, I gotta remember, vertical slingshot.
Things I've already covered in feature films worth of material. So today, instead, I'm gonna only focus on one form of movement.
Vertical slingshot. I was hoping you were gonna do some kind of flight move.
I wasn't even in the air.
Because what better way to convince you than to hyperfixate on vaguely interesting game mechanics you've never heard of before? Rumble isn't just a movement game, it's a movement game squared. Since Newton's third law was inspired by Rumble, hitting structures or being hit by structures moves you. Your own moves move you, and the joystick moves you. But on top of all that, we have something else that flat screen games don't. And that's IRL movement. So if anything, it's movement cubed. Problem is, unless you have an IRL camera, you're not going to see it come through into the game.
What? Okay, you won the engagement, nice.
But let's start with some tech that is extremely basic in all other games, and yet in VR becomes exponentially more complex. Which brings us back to my match with the movement player Pompey.
Oh, nice punish. Why was I expecting you to have that flicked? Oh, was that a mid-air duck? I saw that.
Yep. Now we'll get back to the mid-air duck, because that's kind of advanced tech. Let's just talk about the regular duck.
Ducking is super underrated versus flip.
It is.
Because a lot of people try to swipe, but if you just duck, then
You
it just
win.
doesn't hit you.
Oh, you actually
he does.
No. Stop it.
In other movement shooters, you activate preset positions for your hitbox to be in. But in Rumble, you are your hitbox. So you get an extra level of control.
And you dashed away as well.
That is, if you have a good squad on you.
Stop it, you.
Rather than training finger dexterity, IRL flexibility is an asset in our game.
A doctor told me I can't go that low, so it's not fair. There we go.
And so is being a short king.
I love being short.
Escape that?
Being a tall peasant at 6'1" myself, ducking is something I really should do more, because it's the only way to bridge the gap between the class divide of kings and peasants.
Oh my word.
Something that Roby the 6'5" giant does really well.
Oh, and desync. Oh no. It thought that was too low for any human being. That was like hacks. He's hacking.
And then you get to still keep the one kind of little advantage being tall has.
It's fine though. No, why can you reach so far?
The one advantage of
What
being
is
tall.
that?
There's not much else.
In most other movement shooters, there's a trade-off between standing and crouched. Crouching could put you into a slide, but commit you to one direction. Or it could just make you really slow, but give you more accuracy.
Oh, good duck.
It's no different in Rumble, where if you crouch, you're no longer in the pose position, able to summon and do moves.
That's funny.
But that's obviously where the emergent gameplay comes in. Like this beautiful duck dash that Windad is demonstrating.
That's beautiful, actually.
Initiating the dash before you duck.
You know what, this has the same energy. This has the same energy of you doing like a JoJo's pose after every disc.
See? IRL movement changes the game. You just can't see it because I'm in first person. In fact, yeah, let's go to the third person view so you can appreciate some high level IRL movement plays. Like in this clip where I'm at 1 HP and could die to a single disc. So I make a 500 IQ play and duck after I've already got a held Q. So I have a moving shield.
Oh man. What is this tech?
Goblin tech.
Of course, to continue winning the mind game, you want to mix it in with other tech like dashing back and forth to avoid your opponent's silver bullets.
Come here,
Mr. Flickum Shove opting to goblin.
Eat a brick, gremlin.
Then combine that by being a little rat, cheesing your hitbox safely into the geometry of the rock, then popping out under the cover of night simply to damage the home and inconvenience your human hosts.
Did you just crouch in a wall?
Did you just duck on the
Now
floor?
that's some advanced tech. And then wait for your opponent to just end themselves.
Started actually.
Dude, I'm punching a gremlin, dude. What
Such a cheap tactic. Works every time.
Except for the times when you lose the mind game and they just patiently hit you.
Why are you on the floor? What is going on?
He was meant to kick that.
Alright, well, you've caught me in a lie. That tech actually sucks. Let's look at some more dynamic duckers and how they do it.
He gets so low. How does he do it? Oh! I've never seen someone get a haircut in Rumble before. Oh!
I don't know why I didn't.
Oh my god! I didn't even see that.
Oh my god.
You ducked that.
It's always impressive to me because I rarely do it myself. I usually choose the pose position instead, trying to go for a trade or a counter. Which I missed because Ethereal ducked.
That was super dangerous.
You see, ducking for me is a last resort.
Holy sh! What a duck!
But by the time you've calculated the need to use your last resort,
I gotta work on my duck.
it's usually too late, or you're just in the wrong position. But the few times I do it are kinda sick. As in, it makes me feel sick to see myself try to headbutt a rock
Oh, I ducked into that.
2 times in a row. But that's okay, because even if you aren't good at movement, you could be good at predicting your opponent's movement. Because if you know your opponent is prone to proning, you've already won the movement mind game.
I dove forward to try and get between you and the ball.
The ultimate scorpion.
All you need to do is flail in that specific direction.
I need to figure out something else to do in that situation.
I played a lot of duckers.
That direction being the ground.
Yeah, I like to go from above and dunk. Dunk.
You were like Gollum, like hiding in your cave.
But then that means your opponent should learn not to duck. Whether they apply that knowledge is up to them.
Oh shit.
Wow.
I think I'll never forget you saying, try and duck, and then you show a clip of me failing to duck miserably.
Rather than being a sitting duck, try and duck.
Getting hit by my own cube in a bowl.
Teddy told me that in Greek, nostalgia literally means the pain from an old wound.
Sorry. I'm a bit of an online bully, aren't I? I take people's worst moments and I turn them into joy for others.
But before we forget why we're here in the first place and the question I have to ask Pompey,
Do you reckon Rumble's a movement shooter?
let's return to that advanced movement tech I mentioned,
Nice Mid-air duck, Mr. Toad.
which is especially special. Because your hitbox is you, you're not locked into specific animations. Meaning, you can duck in the air, hopefully at a time that is convenient for you. Not your opponent, or me.
Oh, no. You can duck all you want. Yeah. It ain't gonna help you if I wait till you land.
Unless you're Windet, who can just indefinitely duck forever into the negatives.
I just kept crouching lower and lower. I went up, and then I just went like this.
I saw this little ape.
For everyone else, you gotta know when to parry and when to duck.
That's not how you parry.
And as Yeet Master, my waterbending teacher, learned, not to do both.
You parried it, and it fell on top of you.
However, what I learned from him was to combine ducking with waterbending.
And the hold, that was just enough to tap it.
Inspiration I would take into future matches when I remembered to move.
Oh my god, he's a wizard.
And again, Pompey would
He can't be
inspire me
touched.
and tell
That's
me more
when-
duck tech,
Oh,
which if you
no,
believe it
no.
or not, there is some.
Oh, nice. Couldn't bob and weave out of that one. Playing you does make me move more, which I'm grateful for. So I gotten too lazy a bit, I reckon. Do you let it do a little IRL movement?
It's mainly just ducks.
Okay.
Like Mathix taught me one where you go down into the side so you get 2 different angles to go away from.
Oh.
Right foot, 2 step.
What is this?
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
But this brings us to our next bit of tech. You actually don't need to duck at all, since you have near infinite control of your body's hitbox. Micro movements to dodge are sometimes all that's needed. And so training that instinct is very powerful. And scary. The joystick walking speed in Rumble is actually very slow, but when you layer that with your own body's IRL movement, you can subtly position yourself out of the way, even against the strongest opponents.
This advanced movement tech.
So like I said, layering this all together makes movement square. But to be fair, it is about half the shooting of any other movement shooter.
Take it with hold. Take it with hold.
I will catch you. It was the last thing I do.
It was too
I'm so
fast.
dizzy. Beautiful. Oh god.
And because the projectiles are so slow, it gives movement players such an advantage, because your opponent ends up hitting where you were, instead of where you are. And even if they try, that's a 50-50 as to which direction you'll be.
Just die already!
Oh man, you had me running for my life there. I was just like, I had no offense, just defense.
Now, if IRL movement is the umbrella term, and ducking and micro movement are 2 examples, we also got to talk about the third one, macro movement. Which, even after saving myself from a guaranteed ring out, doesn't look very impressive.
Save.
So I'll have to give reference footage for whenever that does happen.
I wasn't expecting that fast of a 180.
That's my movement.
In most other games, it's more fun to be able to steer yourself in the air than just have your jump be committed to one trajectory. In Rumble, the only way to do that is to have a structure with you to guide you and bump you around. So if you miss that structure, you've kind of committed to that jump.
I missed the flick.
I got one.
There is one final option if you're in that situation, however.
Edge of my play space, absolutely.
Like I said, it doesn't look cool, but it feels cool. That's what the footage is for.
That is a fun skill that I never use, like actually moving to catch myself.
Or in other words, literally diving forward in your play space. Instead of in shooters having a large mouse pad as an advantage, it's an advantage in Rumble to have a large play space to move in. It's also a huge danger.
If I move, I walk into a wall.
But even just leaning your head is enough sometimes. Unless that also makes you hit a wall.
Even if you have the space though, just be aware of your own flexibility.
Damn. I went like that to dodge and I heard my neck pop.
You win.
Oh no, I'm sorry, that's not good.
You just gotta be careful with all IRL movement, because although you can see the game world, you're completely blind to the real world. You have to use your other senses. That's why I play on a foam map, where if I step off it, I can feel it, because I'm, you know, shoeless.
Literally.
Oh my god, that would have been phenomenal. Even though it was nothing, but...
At least when I don't hit the clips to pay the bills, I still have my bosses. Which is what this means. Savitarian, like many others, is generous enough to support me on Patreon. So I, and you, should say a special thanks to them. And if you want editing breakdowns and tutorials, behind the scenes stuff, maybe a grading session, and off-topic premium, as Bobo called the office chat, then you can do that over on Patreon. Otherwise, subscribing, don't worry about it. Liking the video will help to make more Rumblers, but most importantly, you should just become one because there's a Steam sale right on now. I'm not sponsored in any way or get any kickback. I just think it'd be best for you, your life, and your health. And you can join the dojo to find new players or senseis who might help you learn the game. Now let's get back to IRL movement.
Load the jump program.
Free your mind.
Do the whole thing, and then...
I had to fully commit, almost hitting a wall.
You just gotta watch out for any flick structures following you.
Oh no.
What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything.
Macro movement to save yourself from a ring out is just one example. You can also do a big side step or run forward to make yourself faster, back step, whatever. There is an elephant in the room, however, and that is we have two maps. The good map, which is this one, and the one that doesn't have any positional games at all because there's a safety barrier around the whole thing. It's still a fun map, but it feels like the training wheel map. The mobility mind games aren't the same when your opponent can just disc jump away at any time in any direction without consequence. Which is what my opponent should have done then. You might think that having access to any mobility tool at any time might be the preference of mobility players, but then there's no risk-reward to your actions.
There's no way you can't.
There's no mobility mind games anymore. Okay, I should clarify. You can still fly out of the pit.
Could you imagine how that killed you?
That wouldn't have killed me,
But could you imagine?
It's just a lot harder to do.
Yeah, what map do you prefer?
Rain.
Nice.
There's so much less room to run on rain.
Yeah, and you can predict someone where they'll come back to, right?
Yeah, usually everyone tries to go for center. Right here, it doesn't matter.
And also, on that map, you can't appreciate the high skill maneuver it is to save yourself with a flow dash before going off the ring.
Oh, you saved.
Nearly got back on that one.
Otherwise known as a coyote save. By just me, because I just said that then. I don't know if anyone else gave it a name, my bad. Within this realm of unexpected saves, I should also add that for every force that has an equal and opposite reaction, there are equally forces with reactions opposite to what you'd expect.
Oh my... Did you see that? I just hopped myself off with 2 discs. I didn't even jump.
Sometimes it's client-side lag. Sometimes it's explosive knockback just being cancelled for no reason.
Are you still alive? There we go.
Now you'd think this would be a point against Rumble being a movement shooter. However, what is a movement shooter without its bugs that later becomes movement tech down the line?
Lost balance, lost balance.
Oh, what the heck was that?
A boring movement shooter, that's what. So if one of these rare miracle situations happen to you, just make sure you don't waste your second chance at survival.
I don't know what happened. I got the super knockback and then I got 3 flowstone jumps.
And if it happens to your opponent,
oh no! Oh, stunning!
Don't waste your second chance to annihilate them again.
That was beautiful.
Mentally stun-locked me.
And if you somehow manage to reproc your flowstone jump twice, even though we don't understand that at all,
yes! The double save!
No way! What?
Don't waste your third chance at survival.
I've never had that happen before.
Also, as a quickfire round of movement tech used to save you, yes, the intentional damage boost could be used to save you.
Did I almost save it? No!
If you're skilled enough.
And this thing isn't too bad either.
Oh, you saved yourself again, Yoshi!
Now this third way is my greatest shame. The one-time volatile could have been used to save me from a ring out instead of causing. Adrian, I'm so sorry I ruined that clip for you. But I didn't move far or fast enough in IRL. The 8th way is to have your opponent end themselves before you hit the ground.
To my
Why'd I hit myself? I would have had you.
That was a done deal.
And the 12th theoretical way, which I've never personally done, would be to use a structure to fly yourself back up as you're falling.
Out. What is the shift code?
Tactical? Oh, could you imagine? So close. Let's just all imagine that happened.
Pretty cool, right? And if you said no, then you just have a bad imagination. Even though I'm comparing Rumble to other games, it is extremely unique. There are almost no transferable skills you can take into the game, except if you've got a good squad. There are very few pose-based games that still exist, so strangely enough, Wii Sports players are the best rumblers. But it is an advantage to have played other VR games and have a developed sense of game space to real-world space. When you get to an advanced level like Pompey,
Smooth.
it means that the micro movement and the macro movement and the joystick all combine into one skill. That's why Pompey is so good at landing exactly where he wants and activating iron feet.
My word. Iron shins.
Well, for everyone else, it's iron feet, which you use to destroy a structure and take no damage.
So much iron feet going on. We aren't taking
I've
damage.
talked a lot about it and its inconsistency before, but if you master it, it's one of the only ways to have the advantage when closing into close quarter combat. But I suppose in Pompey's case, it's not just iron feet, it's also shins and waist. It's a very janky mechanic.
Oh, you got the iron feed on that. That was savage.
But every time you think you understand it,
Oh, okay, I see it. So you got the short side because it was just.
something will happen that makes you just question your understanding completely. Reminds me of a conversation or demand I got the other day.
You would have got an iron feed if I hadn't put flick on that. Oh, shoeless. I have a theory.
Oh, yeah.
I think iron feed is a skill. Wendy doesn't believe me, and he said I have to go do testing. And I was wondering if you could have a run around, because
I love getting homework from a sub 1k BP player.
Way to do it, like consistently on purpose, is there's like kind of two rings.
Once you get in the middle of that,
it's just always like that's
see how I
you hit it design is like don't touch it. And then Wendy like said you need a test, and then like just keep telling me I need to
like
test
you're the guy to
it.
test. I ain't doing your homework.
I don't have the time.
This is the culture of Rumble, brother. Get on the lab and write me an
Young
essay.
Rumble scientist. Keys G is a genius, by the way. Tough love is just what was needed to get him in his future position.
You lose.
But for my simple brain, Pompey's explanation works best.
It's 50% luck, 50% guesstimation.
Yes.
I ended up showing Pompey that move I was workshopping.
Can you tell me if you've seen it before? Not that.
Oh.
It's a frost bending move. So you. There it is. So the ball pushed it a bit.
That's really cool.
And Pompey continued to show me how he could just iron feet through everything,
What?
including my beautiful statue tech.
What?
You iron feeded the most things I've ever seen someone do. You're making me question my theories about this game.
I'm telling you, it's just the Iron Boots got us. Come on, you should have wave dash pre-update, then yours would have been buffed.
Oh, yeah. I get you. So you were nerfed in one respect. Oh, nice. Did I let myself get hit by that?
And that's what great art should do at the top end. It should just change your life forever.
That was completely blind.
You'll remember from a previous video that Pompey lost the wave dash, his signature tech. When Iron Feet activated pre-update, it would double your velocity. But now, you just go nowhere.
Was that still an impulse to go for a wave dash?
That and also a mistake.
Okay.
Like, I mess up a little, and then I try to go for a impromptu wave dash.
That muscle memory never goes.
And without Pompey's approval,
Do you reckon Rumble's a movement shooter?
I don't know if we could justify the tag on Steam. So in full transparency, let me show you what was lost. Although necessary that we lost it because it was very desync chrome, it was a shame. Movement tech complexity is a function of player time investment, and so it felt like we were just seeing it start to evolve.
Oh, nice. That was good, that was good.
It especially takes time to evolve in a PvP game,
See what I mean? It's the best move in the game.
because you don't just have to have the mechanical skill to pull it off.
Yeah, how'd I end up here? You don't know.
You also need to develop the game sense to know when to use it.
That's good. Besides the obvious telegraphing, when you get it right, it's good.
That's exactly what I do. That's where wave dash goes wrong.
The cool thing about it is that it would stack across multiple structures.
No.
So people were coming up with different configurations to destroy two things at once, giving them quadruple the
That was
speed.
nice. Did you mean to double?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I like that.
And on top of that, include leading structures you could only catch up to with high speeds to then use offensively.
Oh no!
What was that?
I see it though, so you flick the
But the biggest missed opportunity is what if instead of weaponizing weapons, you weaponize movement of the other player?
Oh
my god.
Let me explain. you deliberately trigger a wave dash.
Help. You gotta destroy. He stole my flag. Give it back.
To either knock someone off the ring,
Oh, what the?
or make them go so fast they're yeeted out of the map and clip through all the collision.
Oh. What?
Did you crash?
But alas, perhaps we will never see that.
I went through the wall.
And now Iron Feet are more safe.
Oh, you would have wave dashed off the edge there.
But that's okay, because the beauty of Rumble is how much emergent gameplay there is.
Have you recovered since losing the wave dash?
Sort of. Me and Grant have been working on hook.
Oh, the hook jumps again?
Since forces applied to structures go to where you're looking, you can do weird things by snapping your head.
What is going on? Have you bugged
or
something?
using lag. In a case of the hook jump.
It's where you straight 180 and jump at around the same time. It's sort of client only, and you get sent where you were looking.
But I'm kind of baiting you, because that kind of movement, along with client bumps,
Whoa!
There it is.
What?
bump jumps, and pillar jumps,
Oh.
Don't you think I've been sleeping on the pillar jump?
wind bursts, mojo dashes, absurd guard flapping,
Flappy Bird.
and the ludicrous broomstick.
Just inconceivable.
Are advanced movement techniques for another time. So let us finally ask Pompey the question.
Do you reckon Rumble's a movement shooter? Like, would you classify it as that?
Win.
Rumble, thanks to really just the shift stones, really is any sort of game. Like, you could just have it as a slugfest with sediment. It could be a movement shooter. It could just be being a clown like Bevan with volatile. Or you could just pretend to be a bullet hell with lots of chips. So
true.
I treat it as like movement shooter melee, sort of like Titanfall.
There you go, I guess Rumble is whatever you want it to be. So it was a dumb question after all. The only real question is, why aren't you playing? And also the question of the video, what kind of game is Rumble to you?
There's a wall behind you.
I'll see you in the dojo.